Okay. So again, this is from Blinken's confirmation hearing with the Senate. And there comes a part where Rand Paul, he questions Antony Blinken. So let's watch this clip and then we'll discuss, okay? Because it's it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting indeed.
Senator Paul, and we will get back to Senator Portman. Senator Paul.
Thank you. Like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, you've been a consistent supporter of military intervention in the Middle East, from the Iraq War to the Libyan War to the Syrian civil war. Some on your side of the aisle, including the president-elect, have said, well, we were given bad intelligence. They misled us on the intelligence on Iraq. Now, that's a very specific reason. There's probably some truth to it, but I think it misses sort of the lesson of the Iraq War. Likewise, your justification for maybe coming to a new approach on the Libyan civil war is, well, maybe we overestimated the idea of having viable successors there. To me, it seems like we're still missing the point, because even after Libya, you guys went on to Syria wanting to do the same thing again, and you've argued, well, maybe we just didn't do enough. If we'd done more, we could have toppled Assad and we could have had real regime change in Syria. Well, you got it in Iraq, you got it in Libya, and it's a disaster. The lesson of these wars is that regime change doesn't work. People say, oh, we're going to get rid of the iron fist, and Thomas Jefferson's going to arise from the ashes. Well, that is a naive notion to believe that Thomas Jefferson or his like live in Libya or live in Iraq. Their tradition is so much different than ours. I mean, we've been fighting against centralized power in the English tradition for 1,000 years. The revolution in England was 350 years ago. Ours was 250 years ago. That tradition they don't have. They have a tribal existence. You trade one for another. But mostly what you've gotten through the policies you have advocated, and Joe Biden has advocated, and frankly, John Bolton has advocated, this idea of regime change has been a disaster for the Middle East. We complain, everybody around here is concerned, Iran, Iran, Iran. Well, why? Iraq. We did that. We had a balance of power. It wasn't perfect, but we had somewhat of a balance of power in the Middle East, and you guys messed it up. You got rid of the one bad guy, and another bad guy got stronger. And so then you went to Libya and did the same thing. And then you said, well, maybe Libya's a one-off. Well, maybe there's a rule here. Maybe there's something we can learn about regime change, and maybe we can learn that humility would be that maybe we shouldn't be choosing every government in the Middle East. I would argue that instead of always choosing the governments, maybe we should not reward the bad ones. You know what I mean? So, for example, with Saudi Arabia, I despise the regime. I'd probably still trade with them. I probably wouldn't cut them off completely. I wouldn't sell many more arms. And after they killed Khashoggi, they shouldn't have got one bit of our armaments. But both sides advocate for this. On UAE, we tried to stop that because UAE has a terrible human rights record. Both sides support it. The problem around here is we have bipartisan consensus. The problem isn't lack of consensus. The problem is change. Are any of the lessons you've learned from the failure of Iraq war, Libyan war, the chaos, the vacuum, and more terrorism that occurred and more lives that were lost, and then to go on to Syria? I don't get that there's been a lesson learned. Is there any kind of lesson learned on your part that regime change may not be the best thing for us in the Middle East?
Senator, I think we and I certainly have an absolute obligation to try to learn from everything we've done, advocated, to take into account the results, and to make that.
I think, shut the fuck up, you warmonger piece of shit. It's a simple question. Have you learned your lesson not to fuck with other countries, yes or no? I think we all have an obligation. Shut the fuck up, man. This is the fucking lesser of two evils. He just gave you 15 fucking million examples of how the United States has destroyed other countries, destroyed Syria, destroyed Libya, destroyed Iraq. When are you going to get the fucking message through your head, asshole? How can you sit there and fucking justify this? How fucking psychotic and evil do you have to be to try and justify that shit? The death toll has to be in the billions for you to fucking get it? How much money do you have to fucking make until you agree with this? It's insane that Rand Paul is the only normal fucking person in the room talking sense about the Middle East. That's an issue. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. This is it, man. This is Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition death cult, right? This is your diversity. Diversity in what? Maybe gender, sex, race. Diversity in policy? No. He just said it himself. He just said it himself. We have too much bipartisan consensus on war. That's not a good thing. You know why? Because you shouldn't be bombing other countries, you motherfucker. 10 fucking years now, Syria has been destroyed. 10 fucking years, Libya. 20 fucking years, Iraq, Afghanistan. What a prick. Only a prick can sit in that chair and try to justify that shit. No fucking plan, no empathy, no reparations, nothing. Again, fuck you and fuck Joe Biden and all these war criminals in his cabinet. You got an issue when Rand Paul is the only sane person in the room talking sense on this shit. Because I listened to 4 hours of that hearing and it's nothing but a bunch of fucking assholes jerking each other off, talking about, oh yeah, we got to be more hawkish on Iran. We got to be more hawkish on Russia. We got to be more hawkish on China. We got to put sanctions on Venezuela. We got to fucking intervene in every country till there's no more countries left and we own everything. Fucking psychotic death cult, man. Unbelievable.
Inform how we think about these problems going forward. And I've done a lot of hard thinking.
Oh, he's done a lot of hard thinking. He's done a lot of hard thinking. He's done a lot of hard thinking. Wow. Yeah, that's going to bring back all the dead people in Iraq and Libya and Syria and you know, all the people starving from sanctions. It's okay. They can rest at ease knowing that they've done a lot of hard thinking.
Inform how we think about these problems going forward. And I've done a lot of hard thinking.
Motherfucker.
About some of the very situations you mentioned. I'm proud of the fact that I have spent all of my career during the times I've been in government for the better part of 25 years, working to advance our diplomacy, to do everything we possibly can.
You're not answering the question.
To make sure that diplomacy is the first answer, not the last answer, and that war and conflict is a last resort.
The next step was Syria. The next step was the Syrian civil war, which looks a lot like the Iraq war and the Libyan war.
In Syria, there were those who were advocating for a repeat of Iraq, which is to say a whole-scale intervention. That's something that I did not agree with. When we were looking at what to do in Afghanistan. But here's the
problem in Syria. There was a predictable result there. Had you gotten rid of Assad, who were the fiercest fighters over there? Al-Nusra and Al-Qaeda. The more radical you were, the better fighters you were. The program that you started with Hillary Clinton, the program to train the moderate rebels, we spent $250 million. We trained about 60. We sent 10 of them into battle, and they were captured in the first 10 minutes. It was a complete disaster. This whole idea that there were moderates over there that we were going to support, doctors and lawyers and stuff, there were, but I don't think they were out there fighting. The ones out there fighting were jihadists, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, and if they'd have taken over the country, Assad's a terrible person, but I'm not positive that these people would have been better. So, I mean, it's the same lesson. Our humility has to be, let's quit toppling regimes over there. Let's don't support the bad ones, but let's don't presume enough that if we topple them, that in the vacuum, Thomas Jefferson is going to arise, because it never seems to happen.
Why does he get it? Why does he get it? Why is Rand Paul the only person in the room who gets it? You heard what he said. Everything on point. All of it, from start to fucking finish. Why is he the only person in that room who understands? They all understand. They all fucking know this. You think I know this? You think Rand Paul knows this and Tony Blinken doesn't know this? They all know it. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. Again, Rand Paul, I mean, never struck me as the brightest person exactly. You remember he wrote this book? What was it called again? The Case Against Socialism? I did a video about it, and he went on The View trying to promote it, and it's just the dumbest crap. Regardless, this, he's on point. I mean, he's on point. That was the choice at the end of the day. Who are the hardest fighters in Syria? Al-Nusra Front, Jabhat al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, right? And ISIS, the jihadists, the hardliners, excuse me. These people were the battle-hardened ones making gains who were actually ending up taking over territory and incorporating the other factions into theirs and growing stronger and also being funded by other countries. That was the choice. He's telling you, why did you prefer to boost fucking jihadists, fanatics, and how could you possibly rationalize that as a good decision? And this prick is sitting here and going, I did a lot of hard thinking. Kharai alik, kharai alik, kharai alik, sharmuta wate. I'm astonished. I'm really astonished that there is only one person in this room who gets what's going on, and it's Rand fucking Paul. It's like a cartoon. It really is. It's really a cartoon, man. And I don't think they're done. I think they go on to say some more. If you'll excuse me, let me just find it again.
Contemplated or cited in the AMF.
Oh, we just can't pass these treaties, so we're going to make all these.
Right. So I know what happened here. So just to summarize, Rand Paul, he then goes on to ask him about the AUMF, the authorization for use of military force. Okay, so this is, you got one from 2001, 2003. This is what was signed before the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay, and they've been using that ever since. Every president, all of them, Trump, Obama, Biden, they've been using that as the framework to go fucking wild. And he tells him, there's nothing in the AUMF about Yemen or Mali or Syria or any of these countries. There's nothing in there that gives you the right to start military action and engage in other countries. And again, I remind you, even if it said that, even if the entire US Congress, every single person in the House and every single person in the Senate and the president and every single American fucking citizen signed a document saying that we're going to go bomb all 190 plus countries. It doesn't mean anything. It's void. US law does not take precedence over international law. You can't just do whatever the fuck you like because your Congress voted to do it. Your Congress is not the world police. Your Congress does not own the fucking planet. Okay, so your authorization for use of military force means fuck all. Jack shit. It's a piece of worthless, shitty paper. You know why? Because Iraq is not in the fucking United States, you fucking dumb motherfucker. Neither is Afghanistan, neither is Yemen, neither is Somalia, and all the other dozens of countries that you're bombing, you fucking asshole. All right? And so he asks a very poignant question, Rand Paul, that even in your own twisted logic, you did not have the right to do that in the AUMF. But of course, Blinken doesn't agree with him like a normal fucking sane person would. No, he goes like, we've been thinking hard about it. Well done. Well done. This is what it is, man. The same foreign policy, more of the same imperialism. They are not going to change a goddamn thing. They're not going to change a goddamn thing. And they can't even own up to their previous mistakes. And hold on, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. There's one more thing I wanted to show you about Libya, where he talks about Libya. Okay?
With regard to Libya, here was the situation we faced. We had Muammar Gaddafi saying that he was going to slaughter like rats those opposing him, including all of the inhabitants of Benghazi. And we faced what looked like the potential for a mass atrocity that was heading our way. And what was unique about the moment was the United Nations supported doing something about it, the Security Council, the partners and allies in the region did, and our allies in Europe did too. Having said that, and so I think the good news from where I sat, and I supported that effort. In fact, I think it's been written about. I was the President-elect's National Security Advisor at the time, and he did not agree with that course of action. And so, but we had the kind of relationship where I was able to say what I thought, and as you noted, we intervened. Here's what I think we misjudged. First, we didn't fully appreciate the fact that one of the things Gaddafi had done over the years was to make sure that there was no possible rival to his power. And as a result, there was no effective bureaucracy, no effective administration in Libya with which to work when he was gone. That made things much more challenging than I think we understood.
Okay, so again, because I want to step, so basically there was no plan afterwards. That's a lesson you've learned.
I think there was a plan that ran into some reality that unfortunately the result has been that there's been more space in Libya for extremist groups who filled some of the vacuum left by Gaddafi.
Okay, one of the things.
Oh man, that's so crazy, you know? It's almost as if the exact same fucking shit happened in Iraq 10 years before and you did not learn your lesson. Right? What does Paul Brennan do when he gets to Iraq? Right after the invasion in 2003? He bans and dissolves the Ba'ath Party. And you might be thinking, well, that's a good thing because that's Saddam Hussein's party. Why should it be kept? Well, I mean, first of all, it's not Americans. Would you be okay with Iraq invading you and just deciding to dissolve all of your political parties? I'm pretty sure you'd be pissed. Regardless, that's not the point. The point is you had people of all walks of life who are members of the Ba'ath Party, people in the military, teachers, you name it. And these people are now all out of a job. Hundreds of thousands of people out of jobs. You got men, able-bodied men, no job. Why? Because the US government just decided to dissolve the fucking government. No institutions, just creating a vacuum, not just a power vacuum, but also an institutional vacuum. And he's saying, oh man, well look, Libya, we got into, you remember the line from Pulp Fiction? We got into this thing with the best intentions. Yeah, okay. Shut the fuck up, Brett. He's saying, oh, we didn't know that we would run into this thing. And, it's Gaddafi's fault. Even after we, ruined the country. No, it's his fault, even though he's already dead. Because he made sure that there was no infrastructure in place to take over after him. Then why did you intervene, you stupid fuck? Again, you did the same shit in Iraq, and worse, I would argue, a decade before. You know what happens. No, they don't give a fuck. They know exactly what's going to happen. They don't care. Look at Libya to this day. It's just a war-torn wasteland. Look at what has happened there. You have fucking slave trades now because of what the US did. And he sits there and still fucking justifies it in 2021. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm deeply remorseful. I regret what we did. It was terrible. We won't do that ever again because we've learned our lessons. And then he would maybe explain what the fuck I just explained to you, which they all know. They all fucking know. No, it's like, oh, no, we got into this thing with the best intentions. And by the way, it's Gaddafi's fault, even though he's dead. This is unfucking believable, man. These people are psychopaths. They are murderers. They are fucking war criminals. And you can see that no matter how many people die, no matter what happens, no matter how many countries they set on fire, they will never apologize. They will never admit guilt. They will never even change their policies. They're given a chance once again now to be in power. They're not going to do anything differently. Who's going to pay for Libya? Why aren't you telling me about how you're going to rebuild Libya? I mean, again, be careful what you wish for, because when they talk about rebuilding countries, that means you do what we say and you put these guys that we want in power, or else you're getting no money, right? But the point is here, where's the reparations? None. Nothing. It's like, yeah, we fucked up, whatever, give me my job. Four hours of this circle jerk. Even when there are crimes, war crimes brought up, they just give him a pass. There's no such thing as Democrat. There's no such thing as Republican. There's only the uni-party, the one-party system, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There's the empire. There's absolutely zero difference. And again, I'm absolutely bewildered how Rand Paul is the only motherfucker making sense in that room. Unreal. Unreal. I mean, it's like an Onion article. It's just... But don't worry, guys. Remember, lesser of two evils. It's the lesser of two evils, right?